Well, body count is different than virginity. Like, count is just a running count, where like virginity is
but there's a way to
technically zero.
determine zero count would be a virgin. That's what we mean by virginity. Zero body
And again,
count.
like, this is where I just think it's ineffective, because sexual experience is an important thing when analyzing. I don't, when it comes to men wanting to.
Let me just figure this out. Real quick.
One second.
Go ahead.
When it comes to men having this preference of guaranteed paternity, I don't think that this is an innate preference.
Why?
Because of essentially how different mating strategies worked in different tribes.
Okay. How did they work?
There were obviously polyamorous. I mean, even in Rome, in more modern day
pagans.
patriarchy, like, they had like wedding orgies.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I think it was just in terms of making sure that, children were born so that the community could survive.
Well, let's test this out. I just want to ask you a quick question.
Okay.
If your son came to you and said, "Mom, I have this woman who's only been with one man, and I have another woman who's been with 250 men. Okay. I'm trying to figure out which one I want to be with for the long term, right? Which one would you tell him you would think would be the most monogamous?"
I don't think you can determine monogamy based on body count.
Well, that's not what I asked you.
I wouldn't have an answer.
So if one had only, now what if one had never slept with anybody and the other one had slept with 200? Which one? Which one?
Wouldn't have an answer.
You wouldn't have an answer?
Yeah, I mean, even if I look at my own relationship, whatever you consider to be a body count, mine was higher than my ex's, and he's the one that cheated. So I don't think that determines your,
not in every case.
Faithfulness, your
not,
monogamy.
I think that there are women who've had sex with hundreds of men who could be monogamous to one man, whereas a virgin could cheat on him.
Sure. Okay.
I totally concede that there's outliers to everything. We're just talking about likelihoods.
I don't think that, I mean, I could even argue that because you have less sexual experience, you would be more inclined to stray if you become bored, the relationship becomes stale. I don't think that is the ultimate reason why people cheat.
Do you trust Pew Research?
I think Pew Research is a good source, yeah.
So according to Pew Research, women who get married as virgins are far less likely to cheat than women who don't.
Yeah, I think there's a correlation versus...
Actually, it gets higher by everyone. The metric gets higher per
Is
one.
this the same study when it comes to... I'm sorry, is this cheating?
It's not a study. These aren't studies.
So were these surveys?
Yeah.
And so... I'm sorry, explain.
Yeah. So it's just that the correlate there seems to be that virgins cheat way less.
Right. I think obviously we can, and I don't, obviously correlation is not causation. And so when we talk about causation...
But all causation are correlates.
Sure. But again, you would need to establish causation. I could say that women who have like what you would deem lower body counts would more than likely be religious.
I won't even dispute this. So if you and I agree that correlation is not causation, but all causation is correlation, then we're just looking for strong correlates. And that's what we're going to make the determination.
You would need to determine cause.
Well, but cause is still going to be...
I think it's really...
Aren't all causes correlates?
1 second. I think it's really silly to say that relationships fail or people cheat because of necessarily their past experience.
I'm not even saying that.
Okay. So what is your overarching point?
I'm explaining it to you. So if it is the case that we're just looking for strong correlates, this seems to be a really strong correlate.
Okay.
That if you're a virgin, you're going to cheat way less. Now you can make the claim, well, have we determined that that's the cause? Well, I think even if you haven't, let's just say that there's some other correlations there, like, I don't know, maybe virgins, like, they don't cheat for some other reason than they haven't been with a bunch of guys. Like, they're just virgins are more likely to be brunettes, let's just say.
They're more likely to what?
Be like brunettes? I don't know.
Brunettes?
Like, I can't think of what...
Yeah, I think brunettes cheat less.
Yeah, I
sure.
can't think what the correlate would be that would be more strong than less sexual experience leads to less cheating. If virgins are cheating way less, I can't think of a single... But you are technically correct that correlation is not causation. We need to establish causation. But from a reasoning standpoint, if you're a man... right?
Can you tell me the
Hang on.
Pew
From a
Research study
reasoning
just so I can
standpoint,
pull
I'll
it
link
up?
it to you actually. But
Great, thank you.
From a mystery, send me over that study or the Pew Research data. So
If
anyway,
you just tell me the title.
yeah, I can't remember off the top of my head, but I'll give it to you. Right, I've brought it up in debates and sourced it multiple times. I'll get it to you.
No, I'm.
But anyway, so on the
Not saying
idea,
you won't.
yeah, on the idea of virgins, let's just assume for a second, right, that we don't have a causation. It's just a really strong correlate. Me as a rational man, why wouldn't I take that into consideration when doing mate selection? Like, I don't want to get divorced, right?
I mean, if you do want to enter into marriage, I think that's the obvious goal. Sure.
So then it seems like anything that would reduce me getting a divorce, like having a woman who's much more religious, that's going to reduce the chance of divorce. It's also going to demonstrate to me that.
I think there can be other goals, though.
Well,
like,
it's also going to demonstrate to me if she's not having sex that.
Would you rather be unhappily married or happily divorced?
Well, from my religious standpoint, from my preference or my religious standpoint?
Either.
Yeah, from my
Give me
preference,
both.
I'd rather be happily divorced, preference-wise.
Yeah.
But I still think you have an obligation to stay married, even if you're unhappy, because unhappiness in marriage can be short-term, even
Sure.
if it's only a couple of years. So I still think there's an obligation, especially for kids, to stay
Sure.
together. So anyway.
I mean, I don't necessarily disagree.
Yeah, so that aside, we'll leave that for a second. If I look for correlates of things, right, that strongly correlate, that are going to reduce the chances of divorce for me, in this case, a woman cheating is going to greatly increase the chances we get divorced. That's just true. So-
Why?
because if you cheat on me, I'm going to divorce you.
So, but you just said you have a duty.
Yes, but there's threshold breakers for the duty.
Okay.
Yeah.
Why is that a threshold breaker?
Because this would violate the very thing which kept me in the marriage to begin with, which is the religious obligation towards it.
I see. Would the degree of what are we counting as cheating? Is that intercourse?
No.
Okay.
If you just like, even I have an emotional connection with X, for me, would be cheating.
Oh, really? So if your wife said, I have emotional feelings for this guy, even if she didn't want them, but she just still felt it.
Well, that's different. Well, it depends on the severity. Like, I'm in love with Chad. I don't want to be in love with Chad, but I am. That's it. You're done. That's over.
So
Go be in love with Chad when we're not married.
I'm sorry. So if your wife developed emotional feelings for someone,
Yeah.
but didn't act on them,
Yeah.
that's still done.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So I would
Do
consider
you think
that
you
to
have
be.
control over that?
I think.
I
do I think
do
I
you
have
think-
control?
Sorry. Do you think someone has control over that,
Yeah.
of developing
Yeah.
emotional feelings
Sure.
for someone else?
Sure. You have
Okay.
tons of control. For instance, you can put yourself in positions where you don't engage with men who aren't your husband, and then you can't develop those feelings. Very simple.
Wow.
Am I wrong?
I mean, you could never talk to anyone ever.
No, you
sure.
could talk
And
to
then,
people.
Well, I mean, that's
But
just.
you don't just meet a person and go, "Oh my God, I'm in love." That doesn't.
No,
that's not
I
how that
agree. I
works.
think things happen over.
Yeah, over an
like-
elongated period of time.
I agree.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
I think you have tons of control over that. So, but that aside, back to the
Sure.
idea of virginity. If it is true that virgins cheat less, and that seems to be what the Pew Research poll says, and if you have less than 9. Right, it continuously decreases, and then I don't remember what the number was before it basically flatlines
I feel like you're
out.
talking about the Institute of Family Studies, which actually said that women with 2 to 9, I believe 2 to 9 partners had less divorce rates than women with 0 to.
Well, no, that was
to
2 to 4. I think.
I believe it was 2 to 9.
No,
because
not
I've
2 to
cited
9.
that several times.
I think it was
myself.
2 to 4, but we can check.
Yeah.
I'll have Brian pull it up when he gets back.
But still,
2 to 4.
it is the higher 2 to 9.
But
than,
let's just-
than virgins and.
Yeah, but if
And
I
people
wanted to
who have
make,
low body.
but let's
count.
just grant it. Let's just even grant the research for family studies, and we'll just say like the 2 to 9, right, have a less divorce rate than even the virgin,
Yeah.
right? Fine, like so.
But
If
then
I
that's
wasn't,
obviously not a cause, right?
yeah, if I wasn't revolted, well, there could be other contributing correlates or confounding factors.
Right, yeah.
But the thing is that if I'm not revolted, so you agree with me that relationships revolve around attraction?
I guess it depends on what you mean by attraction.
Can you have sex with men you're not attracted to?
I mean, I can't know.
Yeah, right. So no, neither can most people. They don't want to have sex with people they're not attracted to. So if you're a person,
Are we just talking about physical attraction?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So if you're not physically attracted to a woman because she's not a virgin,
I mean, I think that's there have been men that I haven't been like physically attracted to, and then I get to know them and they become attractive.
So then you become attracted to them?
Right, but I just want to say it's like not necessarily based on a physical basis, but because of who they are as a person.
But you are attracted to them physically, or you wouldn't sleep with them, right?
Yeah.
Okay, great.
Or emotionally, if you will.
Okay, whatever it is. But so for men, physical attraction, they don't want to sleep with women that they don't find physically attractive. If they find this to be revolting to them, right? That they have been with other men, they find they can't maintain some type of attracted level to the other person, then what's wrong with them selecting for a virgin?
I would wonder why this is a criteria, because they're
not attracted to you if you're not a virgin.
Well, but like, why is that a quality? I think when we talk about like attractiveness, sure, I think there can be metrics that don't necessarily have reason. Like for some reason, I like brunettes more than blondes. I don't know why. But when it comes to specific behaviors, I think that's more of like a philosophical stance than just like this innate, I'm attracted to you because of X degree. I mean,
do you think you can
what
help?
If I
you
don't
think you can help what you find attractive?
What if I don't disclose though?
And then you do?
Yeah. So
and then I'm not attracted anymore.
Well, let's just say hypothetically that a beautiful man's attracted to me and like everything is there, the personality, the compatibility, is he really not attracted to me?
Yeah. What if he disclosed to you that he molested children? Would you still be attracted to him?
I think there would still obviously be some feelings for that person. Like,
would you still be attracted to him?
I wouldn't stay with him.
Would you still be attracted to him? Or do you think you could decrease the attraction level?
I mean, I would definitely be repulsed.
Yeah. That's my whole point.
But I don't think that.
So then all that matters is that even if it's revealed to you later and now so basically.
So I guess there would be like efficacy or, some form of validity, because I think like women engaging in consensual relationships is very different than someone who is engaging like raping children.
But that's not in dispute. It's just if this piece of information, pertinent information, was revealed to you that was not before, could that deviate your attractiveness
Right, but what's
level?
Reasonable, I guess, is what I'm asking.
I think it's totally reasonable if somebody releases to you that they have slept with 50 men, that you could be repulsed by that. Why is that not reasonable?
Why would it be reasonable?
Because you don't want to envision men having sex with your woman.
So it is a property thing then?
Well, it's not just a property
or like
thing.
An ownership
it's a
thing.
Revulsion thing.
I don't know. That just seems kind of insecure.
Oh, well, then it's kind of insecure that you won't date a guy based on his past relationship molesting children.
I don't think that's insecurity at all. Like,
why? Why is that not insecure?
Him molesting children is obviously a heinous act.
But he's reformed now. He's not doing it anymore.
1 second. It's obviously a heinous act where like someone else engaging in a consensual relationship is not. Why would I have an issue that they've had a past partner?
Because all that really matters is what deviates your attractiveness. So for you, it deviates the attractiveness for this person because they did X activity. It's the same thing here.
No, I don't think that is a fair equivalence.
Well, it's 100% a fair equivalence. We're just talking about your attractiveness to X person, and without attractiveness, there can be no sex. There's no relationship.
Right, but I think we have to talk about like essentially what when we look at like societal qualifiers, I think like there are obviously reasonable expectations when it comes to a partner. I just don't know why someone would be repulsed by consensual sex acts.
Why is that?
Previously,
I don't understand.
I feel like you're just kind of saying like men are conditioned into patriarchy to value virginity because they view women as property,
an argument.
and that's okay.
Like you're not making an argument right now. Can men not be attracted to women based on the fact that they have a higher body count? And if the answer is yes, and attraction, attraction is required for there to be sex in a relationship to begin with, then I need an argument for why it is men can't be attracted to only virgins. I need to know that. What is the argument against that?
Are you attracted to an experience?
You're attracted to the fact that they've had less men they've slept with. That's an attractive quality to you.
How is that attractive?
Because it is. It's attractive to you.
I don't think it is because it is.
Do you think you can help attraction?
I think that attraction can come from aspects of social conditioning, sure.
So you could personally help right now who you're attracted to?
I mean, in some capacity, I think there are levels of conditioning when it comes to society that tell us like what are okay criteria and what are not okay.
So can gay men do that?
What do you mean?
Can they determine that they're not attracted to men?
I mean, that's different. Now we're talking about.
Now it's different.
Yeah, now we're talking about like sexual identity versus like.
No, we're still talking about what we're talking
philosophy.
about that we find attractive. Do you think gay men can suddenly just will themselves to not be attracted to other gay men?
Of course not. But,
okay. Well, then how come?
Sexual identity is very different than what we would consider preferences. Do you think if I find brunettes attractive, that I don't find blondes attractive?
Well, wait a second. I'm super confused. I also don't think that you could only find blondes attractive and not find brunettes attractive. So you can definitely only find blondes attractive.
So I think that when we talk about social prescriptions, to say that men have this social prescription to want virgins, to me is
I didn't say anything about social prescription.
For men to have this philosophy or preference of wanting virgins to be again, is just essentially like misogynistic conditioning.
Yeah, that's an assertion, right? You're not actually making an argument. So I need an argument for why it was that men couldn't be attracted to women who have not slept with any other men, and that's their preference for attractiveness.
I mean,